Let's get to the topic at hand, gentlemen. Coach Deion Sanders has officially is now the head coach of Colorado University. Mike, he's in your neck of the woods, baby. He's in the Pac-12. I apologize for not watching the Pac-12 review today because I'm sure you might have spoke about it. But gentlemen, let's get into the conversation here tonight on the sports arena. All right. How do we feel about this? Because I have my own reservations, and I'll speak to them as the conversation goes. But John, I'm going to start with you on this one. I want to hear from you, sir. I want to know your thoughts on Deion Sanders going from Jackson State now to Colorado.
Yeah, I'm going to choose my words wisely so that way I don't say anything, get me in trouble. However, yeah, I'm really upset by this. Not because I don't believe a guy can go wherever he wants. Because I've said that a million times on here. You go get your bag, whoever you are in life. Short window. Especially in this type of career, window ain't very big. So you go and get the bag. But when you promise kids, when you tell kids that that's just a rumor, that ain't nothing. That ain't nothing. I'm staying. That's just a rumor. Then you bolt out the door as soon as you get an offer. Because you're trying to get you use them as a stepping stone to get to Colorado, to use Colorado as a stepping stone because you're trying to get that FSU job. That's what you're trying to do. Or you're trying to get that Auburn job. I guarantee it's the FSU job is what he really wants. But to promise them kids, man, to go and tell them kids, like, you're swag, to try and bring HBCUs back, which I love so much, to try and be a different coach than all these other coaches that say one thing and then they bolt out the door as soon as they get a new contract. Like, that's what I thought was different about Deion, was he was telling these kids, I'm different. And then as soon as he goes and bolts, and then basically when he gets to Colorado, he tells the players there, like, you better pack it up and hit that transfer portal, like, so to speak. I'm paraphrasing, but you better pack it up and hit that transfer portal because I'm cleaning house. Like, you telling the kids in there, like, this ain't your home no more. You better pack it up. My son is going to be the starting quarterback. Like, and then he saved it by saying, oh, well, he's going to have to work for it. Like, come on, man. Like you were supposed to be different. You were bringing HBCUs back to life, which I absolutely love. I'm white. Like, I have no dog in that fight, but I absolutely love it. Like, I want to see HBCUs survive and come back to what they were, because they were amazing. They were huge. And, like, they're nothing now, unfortunately. And I hate to say that, but he was bringing the only breath of life into the – I know – I see that face, Eric. But you got to be honest. Like, there's nothing there with them right now, but he was bringing them back to life. And with him just bolting – that's telling everybody else, well, they don't really matter. They're just a stepping stone. I'm bothered by this. Not because, it's not about race. Like, I see all these Twitter posts, it's all about race. Like, no, it's not about that. Like, I'm happy you go and get your bread. But, man, like, when you promise them kids and they follow in your every lead and they switch from a nice offer to Jackson State, a smaller school, because of you, and then you bolt, that's what I have a problem with. I don't like that, man. He was supposed to be different. He had something bigger than wins and losses, bigger than anything like that. He had something special that you don't really get that opportunity in life. You don't really get those type of opportunities. And he had something bigger than the game of football, and he passed up on it for trying to jump, all the way to FSU eventually. Don't say well.
Mike, I'm gonna come to you next, and then I'm gonna let Ray go, and because I'm telling you right now, I'm taking notes because I got stuff that I want to say. But Mike, I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead, Mike. Talk about it.
Look, man, John, I see what you're saying, but he's done the only thing he did different, because you've heard me say on the show, John, like, I would never, and Eric knows this from the day it happened, even though it was Atlanta, I'd never let my kid play for Bobby Petrino. I don't have a kid, but if I do, and Bobby Petrino's still coaching, I'd never let him play for Bobby Petrino. Like, he darted. Deion Sanders has made no bones about not wanting to get to a Power 5. He said, of course, he would have to listen. Yes, when all the rumors first started flying, John, I'm with you. You address his team like, these are rumors. Colorado came to fruition. He sat down with his team and he talked to him. I'm not gonna rip on any coach, and it's not even about getting a bag. It has nothing to do with money. Deion's got it's not like Deion needs to go get this big coaching deal. The HBCUs, to your point, and honestly, like outside of the, because my grandpa's in the Army, outside of the Army-Navy game, my most favorite game to watch growing up was the Southern Grambling game. Because Eddie Robinson coached at Grambling for how long? I mean, decades. And it was HBCUs, and that's the only time that they back then were put in the spotlight. Like that game was like the biggest game. Now, yeah, TV deals have changed, and I get it. You can stream anything now. We all know that. But for Deion to go to Colorado, look, if he really wanted the FSU job, he would have taken that train wreck that's called Auburn. That's what he would have done. He would have taken the train wreck that's called Auburn right now, because it is a train wreck there. I don't even agree with their hire. It's not doing anything. Deion, look, I understand why people can say, oh, they're mad. And John, what you're saying is he's going to be different. I know Eddie George is coaching at an HBCU. If you can get to that next level, because I guarantee you,
Same, Mike, it ain't the same.
It's not.
Deion's different. He's one of the greatest players in NFL history.
John, stop. You spoke. My point is, for Deion Sanders, it's not like he's saying, I'm not coaching the championship game. They're going back. They're going to win that championship game. It'll be a good game, but they're going to win that championship game. I do have an issue with how he said it to the Colorado players. It wasn't about you all need to hit the transfer portal. He wants to step up and see who from this terrible team. And yes, Eric, it does pain me. It was a very terrible Pac-12 team. They were horrid. I mean, they lost to Minnesota, who, whatever. I don't even get started on that. I did that this morning. But Colorado's terrible. So he's going to sit there and say he wants to see who's going to step up and put the work in. Now, for everything that he handled at Jackson State, it's not like he jumped ship after 1 year. So many of these coaches, a lot of these coaches, we see 1 foot in, 1 foot out. David Shaw, who just stepped down at Stanford, which baffled me. That guy hasn't had a bad season the whole time he's been there. They won 3 games this year, and David Shaw stepped down. He resigned. They didn't want him to go. I know that for a fact. So you look at what Deion Sanders said about Colorado being progressive and not just seeing skin tone and color, because their last 3 coaches that they've hired, head coaches, or 2 coaches, have been that. My point is, yeah, you want HBCUs to develop, but it gets to a point where what's Deion's ceiling there? Like, you can compete for those national titles, which I'm not slighting it. It's phenomenal. It's a national title. But everybody that's crushing him for leaving, more people are crushing him for what he said to those players. Look, you're a terrible team. And there's guys that are going to transfer with them. And yeah, they're going to lose some 5 stars. But I don't think Jackson State's going to all of a sudden go into the tank. So, and look, the fact that he's finishing it, because how many coaches the 4 of us have seen get a new job and they're like, deuces, the defensive coordinator, the offensive coordinator is coaching the game. Deion said he's going to start it. He's going to finish it with the national title. Look, I can see people in Mississippi being upset, but it's his career. Dude, again, you say you're cool. Everybody says, oh, I'm okay with somebody going wherever. But then it's like we all talk out of the other sides of the mouth. Me guilty too. So if that's a job that elevate him in a Power 5 and he can do it, let him do it. It opens the doors for young coaches, or I mean, not that he's crazy young, but younger coaches in HBCUs all over to be like, hey, if I'm going to win here, I'm going to do that. But no coach has, like I said, there's Eddie Robinson. College basketball is different. You get coaches there forever. College football, obviously, you're not winning, you get fired. We all know that. And Deion says you either get promoted or you get fired. That's it. And he did. That quote's true.
What he said was you either get terminated or you get elevated. Let me go to Ray.
Right. And he got elevated. So I'll wrap it up. I mean, I know we're going to each add more, Eric, but am I frustrated? Do I share John's view and point of, yes, I think he could have stayed there and built a complete dynasty, just like Eddie Robinson did at Grambling. I mean, that was the dynasty. And I mean, if when Southern beat him, it was like, wow. I mean, that was the thing. So from that aspect, I'm with John. I wish he would have built it, but I'm not stopping any coach anywhere from stepping in. And at least, like I said, it's not even about a consolation prize. At least he's going to finish his job, Eric, because you and I have seen it in our life. We've all seen it. People don't finish those jobs. They get a new job. They're like, deuces.
Go ahead, Ray.
I think so many people are missing the bigger point. Like everybody's like, oh, they mad at Deion because he got a better job. Who would ever be mad at that, right? Who would ever be mad at that? Especially when it is proven that there are limited opportunities for men of color and head coaching gigs in every sport across the board, right? In sports that are dominated by Black athletes in the NFL. I mean, it became a big thing when just recently over half the coaches in the NBA were Black. Like it becomes a big thing. Any position of authority, any head figure, right? It's limited. Like you look at CEOs, limited. You look at quarterbacks in the NFL, limited. So when we see an opportunity for a Black man, nobody's upset that any Black man would open the door for people behind him to do greater things. What people are upset about is the way that everything unfolded, right? The things that were said, the quote unquote, I'm gonna use the word lies that were told, right? It's some people in the comments. If y'all look in the comments, you see Casey Jordan, you'll see Loso Bradley. Like I was in this group called Sportsbook. And before Deion went to Jackson State, we had a back and forth for months about the prominence of HBCUs versus PWIs. We talked about the possibility of being drafted out of an HBCU versus a PWI. And I was on the opposing side that a kid would be crazy to not consider a PWI or HBCU. It's just crazy. You go look, and they're like, if you got talent, they'll find you. This is what people told me. If you got talent, they'll find you. I said, go look, show me that. Show me how many people out of HBCUs were top 5 draft picks. Show me how many people out of HBCUs were first-round draft picks. Like it's few and far in between, right? But people told me I was crazy. Then along comes Deion Sanders and all these bandwagon riders, right? Just all jumped on the HBCU train. HBCUs this. They was picking teams. They was watching games. They was talking about, oh, y'all said he couldn't do it. Now he doing it. The thing is, Deion Sanders, his whole shtick was why not us? Like, John, when you say it's not about race, it is. Because that's the card he played. That's the card he played. He played on young African-American kids' emotions to say, hey, why not us? Why not come build up our thing? Why not come build up HBCUs? They're not any better than us. A PWI ain't better than us. They're no better than us. We're not a step below. They're not above us. They're not better than. They're not greater. We're just as good. We can be just as talented, right? You don't need them to be successful. So what did he just show them? He just showed them he didn't even buy what he was selling. You don't need them. And then stood right in this thing and sat in his chair and said, I just got elevated. How you get elevated when you just said they weren't better than? You preach to these kids that they weren't better than. I had the opportunity, the luxury, I was fortunate enough to speak to him myself. I spoke to Deion Sanders myself. I went to the ESPN Black Sports Symposium, right? Deion Sanders comes out and he's giving his speech. And he's talking to a room full of young Black people who aspire to be journalists, people who aspire to be agents, people who aspire to be in the sports medicine field. Anybody that has any aspirations in the sports world as a young African-American, they were there. Most of us in the media and journalism field, right? And he started giving this spiel on, you got to know your why. Deion is very well spoken. Oh, he can motivate a room. You got to know your why. Why do you get up in the morning? Why do you push so hard? Athletes, why do you work out so hard? Why would y'all spend y'all money to go from wherever you from to come down to Atlanta to be here to hear me talk? Why? You have to know your why. So Ray Lynn, the sports reporter I pay, I stood up and I said, Deion Sanders, I got 2 questions for you. He said, give me one. I said, I'm going to give you both. I said, you gave us this spiel about your why. I said, you're Deion Sanders. You could have got a job at almost anywhere just because your name hold that much weight. Maybe not the FSU job everybody talk about. This Colorado job, Deion could have got that without Jackson State. I don't care what nobody say, right? Just his name alone. He could, hell, Jeff Saturday coaching. He ain't never coached a day in his life. Deion Sanders could have got Colorado, right? I said, why Jackson State? That man looked at me and said, God called, collect, and I had to accept the charges. That's what he told me. That's what his answer was. It's on my Facebook Live. Go look at it for yourself. My follow-up question, which I hate the fact that E didn't get this part. You got the question. He didn't get Deion's answer, right? Because they told us we weren't supposed to be recording. He was trying not to get caught. I said, Deion, you're already saying something to this effect. I said, I want to know your thoughts on this. We're already seeing the shift in the narrative, right? We're starting to see 3-star, 4-star, even 5-star, like the cornerback he got recruits, even considering HBCUs. You have a lot to do with that. I say, and they scared. We starting to hear them talk crazy in the interviews. They saying y'all paying kids. I didn't say all this, but this was the gist of what I was getting to him. I said, what are your thoughts on that? And then on my video, the camera cuts off. But his response to me was something the gist of, oh, I love it. I love it. And we going to keep on doing XYZ. And we going to do blah, blah, blah. And HBCUs is here to stay. And we not the level below. We going to continue to build and be bigger. And then he had kids with him. And he was telling them to stand up and talk about how they do things. And the culture we building in HBCUs. And how we're going to build this thing up. And we going to change the narrative. And we going to show the world. And the first chance he got, he was out. He was out. You just told them kids, we don't need them. We're going to do it our way. You ain't got to go to a PWI. Oh, but I do. We not less than them. Oh, but I just got elevated. Oh, we going to do X, Y, and Z. No, it ain't about the bag, but you got 5 million. Stop saying it ain't about the bag. And if we want to be truthful about it, Deion, smart as hell. I'm going to pick a school that won 1 game. If I win 6, I did great. Oh, yeah, genius. I ain't never mad at no man for elevating. I'm just mad at how he went about it. He the greatest salesman in the world. He sold everybody on a bunch of lies. And I ain't even looking.
Called a con man.
Look, and check this out, John. I ain't even looking. In the bottom right-hand corner, right here, see, y'all can't see my hand at. I got a big monitor up. I just saw the icon that popped up. I saw Loso Bradley commented. I don't even know what he said. Because him, like most of the world, they followed Deion. They ain't give a care about Jackson State. They ain't care about HBCUs. That man didn't even have a team. He was a Jackson State fan this year because Deion was there. Who gonna be your team next year? Y'all still gonna follow HBCUs? Is ESPN still gonna come down to see HBCUs now? It was the Deion show. All this fake following HBCUs. And now when he leave, people's reaction to it show me because Deion's likable. It's all okay. What y'all expect him to do? We expect him to live up to his word that he said. That man told me God called, he accepted charges. Did God hang up now? Is that what happened? God ain't on the phone no more. He didn't call you to be at HBCUs no more. Oh, he called you to go to Colorado. He called you to go to Boulder now. He lied and told them kids, I heard God's voice before. I ain't never mistaken. I think I'm hearing it again. Man, get out of here. Get out of here. He a salesman. Good on him. Get your bread. But he full of it, though. Just saying.
I appreciate this conversation. And it's very rare that y'all see me quiet for this long amount of time. And I know there's a bit of lag between, I don't know, I was trying to get my internet right, but y'all just gonna have to bear with a brother for a minute.
You good? You there?
So I hear what everybody is saying. I heard John. And John, this is why I love you as a brother, why I appreciate you as an ally and an advocate for Black men, and especially myself, by our co-host Ray Lynn, Ty Ray, and everybody else who ever worked with Sideline Sports or specifically worked with John Shear. I appreciate you walking the walk with us, okay? Mike Harrington, though, you and I have spent 15 years together. The one thing we don't like about each other is that you are a Cowboys fan, I'm an Eagles fan. Other than that, you already know I'm going to run through a wall for you. If you call me at 2 o'clock in the morning because something going down, Mike, if I can be on the first thing to Phoenix, I'm there. Ray, we have worked together for less than a year, and I still promote the hell out of you each and every chance I get. Why? Because you a talented brother. There ain't nobody, and I mean this with every fiber of my being, and if my lip is twitching, then you know it's real. Ray Lynn is one of the best, and people, that name is changing from sports reporter without pay. I'm booking that shit right here. Yeah, I said it. Damn it, we going down this road. But here is what I'm going to say to the three of you right now and where I come from. Okay, behind the scenes, and Ray will stay on me about this more than anybody. When we get into our moments about the show and how we going to elevate the show, Ray always says to me, Eric, I need you to remember one thing. At the end of the day, this is your show. Yes, we are a collective and we are a group, but this is your show. So I'm going to take ownership. But I'm also going to tell you this. If the moment calls for me to elevate who I am to the next level, you best believe I'm out the door. And I've told everybody this. But what I've also done is set y'all up for success. And that is my position with regard to Deion Sanders. Deion Sanders gave the blueprint to every HBCU team, to every HBCU coach, organization, and said, you want to be successful? You want to make a name for yourself? You want to be a staple and be recognized with the Power Fives? Then this is how you do it. But at the end of the day, I got to be me. Now, you can call him a salesman all you want, but the fact is, people had choices to make. One of those choices was to either follow, get behind him, ride with him, and see where it took you, or B, don't watch, don't pay attention, don't listen. And what did the mass do? What did the sheep do? They followed the shepherd. So what happened with Jackson State, what happened with HBCUs, and it's all great. I'm not going to sit here and say it's not. It's a positive. But then we going to get mad when a black man elevates himself to a higher level. John, you can sit your finger and do this all you want. Okay? Yes, he spoke to those players.
It's not for me.
John, no. You talked. He spoke to those players. He told them. He addressed it. He didn't do what them other white coaches do. Leave in the middle of the night. 1 minute say, Friday, I'm not going anywhere. On Sunday, you playing on another team. He sat down with that organization and said, I'm addressing what's out there. I'm telling y'all what's going on. So everybody at Jackson State knew where Deion Sanders was going. Colorado, he comes in. I watched that entire press conference yesterday. From the president of from the university to the athletic director, the guy that made it happen, to Deion Sanders himself, to the questions that were being asked afterwards. What changed about Deion? Absolutely nothing. Deion was Deion. If you gonna blame somebody for switching up, it ain't Deion Sanders. I'm gonna tell you that right now. Okay? People need to understand, when someone who doesn't look like me goes out and does the exact same thing, they are given all the credit in the world. Oh, look what they did, where they were. And now they're getting a fresh start because things may not have walked in their favor. Deion Sanders took it on himself to say, I am going to build HBCU football because it's not getting the recognition that it should be getting. And at the same time, I'm going to do what's best for me. But I'm not just going to leave them high and dry. He's probably going to pull some people with him to come to Colorado. And I'm not just talking players. So don't sit here and tell me that he fed them a bag of horse manure, because he didn't. He sat there and explained to them. He built it up. ESPN ain't played an HBCU game in my entire life. But they damn sure played them this year. Stephen A. Smith at HBCU from Winston-Salem alum. He flew down to watch a game. Tell me when he did that. Don't worry, I'll wait. Deion was Deion. And if anybody got a problem with that, then guess what? Look in the mirror and tell me you would not have done the same thing should the situation arise. Because I just told you I'll be the first one, right-handed guy. I damn sure do it. And I love the three of y'all more than I love 95% of the freaking country. But if something better comes along for me that's going to elevate me, yeah, I'm taking it. I'm going to help pull y'all up with me.
Can I read you a quote from Deion Sanders? Now, this is from HBCUsports.com 6 days ago. I'm going to read you a question, and I'm going to read you his answer. So when he was asked by a local Jackson TV reporter on Tuesday whether he wanted to remain at Jackson State, he explained he was happy and pleased. He said, in quote, "See, there's a tricky question. So when I answer that question, and it's, I don't want to go there because you know what it's going to start in this great question for you," Sanders said. "I don't want to go there. I'm enthusiastically happy with where I am, truly happy and proud and pleased. I feel like this is the best fan base in FCS football by far. I think this is the best fan base in HBCU football that has been in quite some time." He's happy. He's happy. I don't want to go there, he says. I'm happy. That was 6 days ago.
Okay,
He said, I don't want to go to Colorado 6 days ago.
When Jackson State was on a College Game Day, did you not see that interview with Deion, to Eric's point? Because he said, if it's the right, paraphrasing this, but if it's the right fit for me, if it's going to elevate,
Mike,
then he was
I
saying
just read you a quote from his words verbatim.
Well, he also said his words. He also said his words in that interview too. Did he not also say his words in that interview too? Go watch that interview.
Why,
He's a liar.
So real quick though, why are
How's
we?
he a liar?
Hold on, Ray. Real quick, and I'm gonna let you get yours. Hold on, real quick. I'm gonna let you get. I want to address this right here. So Casey Jordan said ESPN has played HBCU games before Deion. Yeah, when have they gotten the attention? That's what I want to know, Casey Jordan. Pull up and show me those numbers. Pull up and show me when ESPN made HBCU a prominent game during college football. That's what I want to know. Pull up and show me that, please.
And it took the Pro Football Hall of Fame all the way until 2021 to get an HBCU area. That was when they unveiled their HBCU area in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. It took them all that time. How long's the Pro Football Hall of Fame been around? And it took them all the way to 2021 when Alex and I visited the very opening of the HBCU area. We were there, first people there, before anybody visited it. That was the opening. And it took them all that time. Like, you're right, Eric. Like, HBCUs ain't getting the love. Maybe they're starting to get a little more, but they ain't getting the love like they should be.
That's just my that's fine.
I just really think we're arguing the wrong points. Like, I haven't come across a single person who's upset that anybody is going to do what's best for them or what they think is better, right? It's the double talking. It's the, like, in the same breath you say, it ain't about the bag. Who the hell wants to go to Colorado? You know what I'm saying? Like, when you say it ain't about the bag, when you say to a player, y'all remember the kid that was gonna go to FAMU, and then he didn't want to go to FAMU and he was gonna jump in the portal, right? Do y'all know what Deion said to that kid, or what Deion put out to the media? Deion Sanders said, and I quote, "This is flat out wrong. You go in the portal because you don't think you can go pro from an HBCU? Well, a few went yesterday and over 20 went from FCS schools. Be the change that we all desire. Don't run from the challenge." What is Deion doing? Is he running from the challenge? That's my only issue. I don't care. I'm never going to be mad at somebody for doing better for them themselves. Eric, if ESPN call you tomorrow, bro, I expect you to go, right? If ESPN call any of y'all, if Sports Illustrated call, hell, if Bleacher Report called, I expect y'all to go tomorrow, right?
No thanks.
You're trying to do better for yourself. What I'm talking about is the platform that he stood on. Deion's entire shtick was, why not us? We're just as good as them. We're just as worthy as them. We can be just as prominent as them, and we about to show the world. You told them kids, you told the world that PWIs are not better than us. We're not beneath them. We're just as good, and we're going to show them. And then you walked right out the door for a PWI and then said, I just got elevated. Elevated to something that you told the whole world you weren't beneath? That's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the principles that he said he was standing on. I'm talking about when he looked at me, when he looked at you, and he looked at those other hundreds of black folks in that room and said, God called me to come here. God called me to do this. And I woke up and God whispered in my ear, and we gonna make a change and we finna build HBCUs and blah, 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 blah. I just got elevated. I'm talking about telling kids, don't go on the transfer portal. Don't leave HBCUs. You can make it here. You can go pro. And then as soon as you go to Colorado, say, I'm bringing 10 of them with me and they dogs. I'm bringing my baggage and it's Louis. The same stuff you preached against is what you're doing. You preach to the whole world you don't need a PWI to do it. And you went to a PWI. That's my issue. What he said and what he did don't line up. That's it. I think Deion is one of the most entertaining guys in the world. I think he's a really good coach. Had to be. And his name alone, shout out. I was talking stuff about Loso. I'll give him credit for this. He said when Deion went to Jackson State, watch this. And I said, it ain't going to make a difference. And he made it. He proved his name alone. Deion come walking in your mama house to talk. Oh, it's going to make a difference. Shout out to Loso. He said that. I said it wouldn't make a difference, and it did. And then all in pipe dreams you sold them kids about what y'all was about to build and how special it was. You ain't even stay a whole graduating class. That's my problem, is claiming you stand on one principle and then doing something else. It'll be like seeing your pastor in the paper charged with rape. You'd be like, what? All that he was preaching? That's my issue. Stand on what you say.
Not staying for one graduating class. Look, I'm with you on that. I agree, because you're going in, like you said, you're recruiting kids, you're getting, some 5 stars there, you're getting 4 stars there. But the one thing that Deion said to you, because when I first asked him, because he was doing those commercials with Nick Saban, are you going to play, in Alabama? Are you going to play? He's like, no, we're not going to. He also said, we're not going to go take those extra paydays. I don't have the depth. He goes, nothing against my kids. They work hard. He goes,
hey, hold on. Hey, Mike, stay right there. What was this very next statement?
After he says, when I have the depth, I'm not going to go take a payday. And
he said, we ain't big enough and good enough in the trenches. What did he say after that?
He said he needed time. The rest of that thing, he said he needed time.
He needed time. Give me a couple years. Watch when I build this thing up and we get better in the trenches.
Exactly.
How you going to do that from Colorado?
Well, he's not. But I'm saying when coaches say things, and again, when I interviewed Deion too, is the same thing. I was just like, outside of being a little struck, I was like, man, but talking to Deion, he was out during the Super Bowl here, the second time it was here, but the first time at the new stadium. And I had even asked him if he wanted to coach. Now, my question was pointed, do you want, if you were to go back and coach, would you would you coach at Florida State? And back then he's like, he goes, he did, very religious. He said, if he goes, if I'm called to do it for me, for my family, he goes, if we can do it, he goes, I would think about it. That's what he said. But if you're not even saying for one graduating class, I do have, that to me is the baffling thing. The fact that, like I said, he's going to finish the job. And I know you're not saying that, nobody's going to say don't get the job, but the ESPN interview, and even I think it was Cortland or somebody that posted about the USA Today interview, he said he'd be a fool. That was his quote. He'd be a fool not to think about the job. So again, from everything he said, yes, 100%. But coaches are only building up, and you hear it all the time. They're 1 foot. All coaches are 1 foot in, or they say they're 2 feet in, but it's 1 foot till that big job comes up. And I'm not saying Deion's not a man of his word, man of faith, anything like that. I see, to your point, you're right. I see both sides and saying, not arguing the right points. Yes, not staying for one graduating class, not a fan of. The fact that, and again, it's not that he deserves a pat on the back, Ray, but the fact that he's actually finishing the job, because look, the numbers, I didn't look them up, but they're ginormous of guys that get a job and are like, see ya.
How do we not give this man credit for creating the blueprint on how to successfully run an HBCU program?
Let me respond to that, E. I'll respond directly to that, right? Who do you think is the most successful boxer of all time? Successful.
Floyd Mayweather.
I'm glad you said it. When ESPN did their first take your take, I did a take on Floyd Mayweather, and I said that he was the GOAT, not just because he was 50-0. I said he was the GOAT because he's great, both sides. Offensively, he used to knock people out there. Defensively, hit, don't get hit. You couldn't touch him. As he got older, hands got brittle, got a little slower. He changed his game to strictly like more defense and little pop shots here and there, right? He just changed. And then I said, he gave fighters the blueprint on how to do this. Do it on your own terms. Do it the way you want to do it. He made himself almost he made himself must-see TV. He created a whole persona. Money Mayweather. Pretty boy Floyd wasn't box office. He was good, but he wasn't box office. He said, I'm gonna make people hate me. Now he made himself such an enigma that you either love him or you hate him, right? You're either gonna tune in because you love him and you want to see him win, or you tune in because you hate him and you want to see somebody put him in his place, right? No matter what, Floyd got 4 of the top 5 viewed fights all time because people wanted to see him, right? He created the blueprint. Why can't nobody else do it? Because they ain't got his damn talent. That's why. I don't care what blueprint Deion Sanders left. Everybody can't come in and be Deion Sanders. That's why he was able to come in and be Deion Sanders. That's why he was able to go get 3 and 4, 5-star recruits. He got a video from the 90s singing "Must Be the Money," and he wore a Jerry curl, and he went to interview and told the team, you got the 10th pick. I ain't working out for you because I won't be there. He Deion Sanders. He got the swag. He danced on him. Prime time. He's him. He is him. the greatest cover corner in the history of football. Everybody can't walk in your living room and say that. So it don't matter what the blueprint is. Eddie George over there struggling like hell. You know why? He ain't Deion Sanders. His name don't carry that kind of weight. Eddie George was a great football player. He ain't Deion Sanders. Deion had zero pedigree as a coach, but he walked into your house as Deion Sanders. Oh, I won't play for him. Yeah, the blueprint was laid. Unless another Deion Sanders coming behind him, it ain't like this is such a huge step back, and people act like they're not seeing it. Like Deion breathed life into HBCUs.
Thank you.
He did something I didn't think he could do, and he did it while playing on the emotions of black. I'm surprised you don't see that side of it. That he did it while going, "We're gonna do this as a people. Watch me build us up."
Because he did it, Ray. But Ray, he did it. That's what I'm. That's what
he did.
He
what?
did it.
So the job is done. He just
built
said, "Watch this." He said, "I can do this." Up, did it go?
What? Okay. To Mike said it. What was there left for him to do? What was there left? You took a program that was virtually and social media wise non-existent. When except for you, Ray, except for you, because I know, except for you, Mike, John, when have you heard from Jackson? When have you heard about Jackson State? When was the first time you ever heard about Jackson State? When?
You could throw me in there. I hadn't. I'm not an HBCU guy at all.
Okay, fine. My point exactly. We didn't focus on HBCUs and Jackson State specifically till Deion Sanders got there.
And guess what, E? They ain't going to focus on them next year neither. They ain't going to focus on them next year.
You're never going to hear of them.
But that's my point. My point is if they follow the blueprint.
What's the blueprint, E? You got another Deion Sanders up your sleeve?
Can I ask you something, Eric?
He is the blueprint.
Can I ask you something, Eric?
If you leave somebody better in a better situation than they came in, is that not a success?
So E, let's backtrack. Let me
what
be
about the
self-indulgent for a
Patriots?
moment. Let me be self-indulgent for a moment.
There's a blueprint there to win 6 Super Bowls. How comes nobody else has done it? There's a blueprint.
So let me be.
I'll address you in a minute. Go ahead, Ray. I'll address you in a minute.
Eric,
go ahead, Ray.
Think about how you addressed me earlier, and I know that in your hearts of hearts you mean it, right? When I say it, it sounds cocky and arrogant, and I tell people this: I genuinely believe in myself so much that I believe I can sit across the table from anybody in sports debate, and it's on. You gonna remember me when you walk like you, right? I genuinely feel like that, right? I feel like, right? I was my man from I Am Athlete, the guy that went to the pivot.
Fred Taylor, Channing Crowder.
No,
which one?
Channing Crowder. Channing Crowder did a podcast with this young guy, and he spoke to kind of what you was at there. Me and you were sitting next to each other. The motivation speaker, Eric Thomas. He said, when you walk in for a job, stop walking in like you need them and walk in like they need you. Y'all should be blessed that I'm here. That's what he said, right? You know, I really feel like that when people ask me to be on their podcast. I'm like, bro, you should be blessed that I said yes. I don't say that to them, but in my mind, I go, I'm this good that you should be blessed that I'm here. And I genuinely believe in my heart of hearts that once you had me, I'm such a hard act to follow. I believe that I'm irreplaceable, right? If I genuinely believe this about myself, I can't walk away from a situation and go, man, I gave you the blueprint. I am the blueprint. I can't walk away from a situation and you just think anybody gonna be Ray Lynn. I believe that about me, right?
Yes.
Deion can't walk away. We seen it. Eddie George is a Hall of Famer, and he's struggling. He can't recruit like Deion because he ain't Deion. My man said it ain't exclusive. I don't think Deion the only one, but he's one of a kind. Deion Sanders is one of a kind. So when you say he gave the blueprint, he didn't do nothing special but be himself. Walked into a press conference with music playing it. Nobody got swag like Deion. You said he ain't swag. He made a music video saying, Deion, he is a rare breed. So his calling card is his swag, his ability to talk and make you believe everything he's saying, right? Everybody can't do that. So when we go, he gave you the blueprint. He was his blueprint. He didn't lay out no way to do it. He just walked in and was him. So to think that anybody can come behind Deion and just pick that up and run with it, that's just it. That's disingenuous. Like, I'm not saying like he should have stayed because it was on him. I'm saying he should have stayed because that he what he said he was going to do and how he said he was going to do it and how he played on the emotions of black people to say, we're going to build us as a people. We're going to build HBUs and show the world. And then to leave it for a PWI when your whole shtick was, we don't need to go to PWIs. We can do this at our home. What you doing?
Ray, I'm not disagreeing with you. I'm looking at it through your lens, and I understand where you're coming from. I just think the narrative, I think we're focused on, you and I are focused on two different things.
Mm-hmm.
I understand what the man said.
Because I'm glad he got his bread.
The man said. And you know what? He needs to be held accountable for what he has done. But what I'm not going to do, because too many times, and yeah, I'm going to pull the card. I'm going to pull the card that I don't traditionally or very rarely ever pull. I'm going to pull the black card on this one and say we are so quick to find fault with a black man when he decides to better himself and elevate himself to the next level. Yet the other coaches who will transfer and go from college to college to pro to college, they never receive the same media attention that Deion Sanders, positive or negative, is receiving based on this move. And I refuse to let anybody, even you, try to take away from this moment. Deion Sanders, I'll say it, he played the game. If you want to be mad because Deion Sanders played the game, then you feel that kind of way. But I'll be the first one to sit here and say to you, damn it, Deion, do whatever you need to do.
So you
and
okay with
everybody
him?
Else?
You okay with him playing the game
choices.
at our expense? Not our Ray, because Ray did.
I know what you're saying. I know what you're saying. He did it, and you and John are saying the same thing. He played it at the expense of the people that he told, we don't need the Power Five. We don't need the PWI. We gonna make the HBCU just as good, if not better, than the SEC. I get all of that. I get it. But right now, in this moment, I'm focused on the fact that Deion did what so many other coaches have done. But at least he gave them what I'm calling the blueprint on how to sustain and make HBCUs continually relevant.
Yeah, and to Ray's point too, like Ray, I see what you're saying is they're not Deion. Yeah, when you go into when any coach, I know this, I mean, being around college coaches, but certain coaches go into a living room. I mean, yeah, everybody's going to be like, you can always tell. The coaches have said, yeah, the bigger the schools, the bigger the coach, the more family that was around. So if one of you, guys, say you're coming to recruit me, Ray, and I know you're coming, like, oh damn, Ray's coming to recruit. Like, more of my family's just going to magically show up because they know that you're there. So yeah, Deion definitely had that power, and I see what I definitely see what you're saying. But from an X's and O's standpoint, yes, Deion knew the game. He brought the right coaches in, and there's a lot. Yeah, people say, oh, well, he just played corner and teach. The man understands football. So from an X's and O's standpoint, you could bring somebody in. Yeah. Are they the pizzazz and light of Deion in a living room? Probably not. Not many people. Deion's one of one, right? You said it. He's one of one. And I agree with you. But like I said, they win a championship. He finishes that job. He said, to your whole point about, yeah, build up and get to that point. It's not something that's swept under, overlooked. I agree with you, because when you say that, yeah, are you going to be the next person that's there for 10, 15, 20 years? To that point, I see where everybody going back and forth, like Eric's saying, though, but he said he would, depending on the job, he would consider it. When I saw that interview when College Game Day was at Jackson State, which College Game Day, I mean, is first time there. So it's you can see both lines. And when he says that, yes, but to your point, when you're saying he's telling them, oh, you don't need to go there to get to the NFL. I can get you there. Yes, that part, and not staying for the first full graduating class, I'm with you on that, because there are guys that are there that are going to be in the end. They're going to get drafted, not just late round or, whatever, be Mr. Irrelevant. There are guys there that are playing. And yeah, some are going to transfer to CU. And that's the part that to Eric, to your point, what Ray's saying, I think that's the part that is mostly frustrating. But if a man says I'd be crazy not to think about it, but Auburn wanted him, and he said absolutely hell no. I don't know if it was exactly like that, but Auburn, there was no way he was going to Auburn. So
in the next 365 days, once this say from January 1st to the following year, January 1st, nothing to do with Deion. How many times do you think on this show we're going to talk about HBCUs? I can probably count on one hand. When Deion was there, how many times we talked about? We made some conversations about HBCUs.
Okay, fine, but how many times do? First of all, I'm not going to be pigeonholed by that because I'll talk any college football anytime with anyone, anywhere.
Like you never mention HBCUs.
I'm most confident about talking about it because I'll watch it. My point is, how many big shows, even way before? Okay, Deion, how many big shows talked about HBCU football? Like you got no highlights unless you went searching for them. So don't give me that crap about.
That's my point.
We're going to talk about it. Nobody was. So the fact
that. So let me answer the.
Mike,
let me answer the question.
Nobody's denying that, though, Mike. Nobody's denying that. Like you and E's point that the impact he made and had, even to the people in the comments, like throwing it at me when I said I didn't think he could and that he did. I'm admitting that. I'm admitting that what I didn't think could be done, he did. Right. So nobody's denying the exposure that he brought to HBCUs. None of that. Like, I'm not gonna say it's a moot point. We agree with that, right? Like, I think, as a matter of fact, had he not done that, nobody would probably care that he was leaving, right?
Yep.
The frustration from most people comes from what he said he was gonna do, how he said he was gonna do it, and him hanging on that why not us? Like playing on he's playing the race card. Why not us? And then you was doing it. That like if he wasn't doing what he said he was gonna do, people would be like, oh well. But he was actually doing it. And then, like he said, he played the game, played black folks like a fiddle. And people that love Deion are gonna stand by it no matter what. Because Deion's likable. Oh man, y'all can't see, bro. We seen what the man was doing. He quit on it.
Well, if he wins, like I said,
we're definitely in the overtime because this was 2 topics, and I got 20 seconds for our Roku listeners. So you know what? We're going to say goodnight to them. I do want to get to